Good morning, y'all. April 11th, God calling, hold your forts. And God even tied Easter gladness. We're still on that Easter hype train. Hold the fort sounds interesting. I feel like I need that one today. It's going through a little bit of annoyance, a little bit of peeviness in my life. Now you tick, tick, tick. And it's just like, I need to hold down my fort. Let's see. Remember that my followers are to be a peculiar people, separated from among others. Different ways, a different standard of living, different customs, actuated by different motives. Pray for love. Pray for my spirit of love to be showered on all you meet. Deal with yourselves severely. Learn to love discipline. Never yield one point that you have already won. Discipline, discipline. Love it and rejoice. Rejoice. Mountains can be removed by thought, by desire. Guys, this is so crucial. This is like let me put this in really basic terms. When you're right at the finish line, when you see it in sight, when you've worked hard, you've trained for months, you've done all these things, and you're at the finish line, don't assume that you've already won. Don't assume that you could just slack off now. Don't assume that you could just run your mouth, say whatever you want, do whatever you want, be whatever you want, right? Because God's going to show you real quick. He's going to show you real quick his real power and how much he can take over your life and how much he truly has and the real power of God, right? God calls us not only to love him, but also to fear him because he is the one true God, right? And so if you're at that finish line, guys, and you see that, don't start like boasting. Don't start becoming prideful. Don't start getting that power in yourself. Don't start doing any of those things because God will take that away from you so quick. And you might not even make it to the finish line. You could be in first place and you might somehow end up in last, right? Rabbit in the hair. It reminds me of this one movie. It's I forgot the movie, but it's like a bunch of celebrity actors, right? And it's like Armageddon going on, right? End times, the rapture happened, right? I'm sure you guys have seen it before. I can't remember. It has like a lot of people in it. But there's this one scene where like the people who are left, some of the Hollywood actors who are left, they're doing like good things to try to get back into heaven, and one of them sacrifices his life, and he starts getting beamed up, right? He's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it, I'm getting raptured, guys. And as he's getting beamed up, he's like talking to another guy who is fighting. He's like, F you suck, like eat it, you're not going to heaven, screw you. And then boom, God just cut it off and he just dropped right back down, and that was it. He died right there. And so that just kind of reminds me of that. God's saying right here that we are called to be different, right? We are called to be on a higher tier. We aren't called to be petty. We aren't called to be boastful, right? We are called to be a better example. We're called to be Jesus-like, Christ-like. We're called to have godliness, to be a great example on others, guys. So don't let your weakness cloud your judgment. Don't let your desire cloud your work, right? Cloud who you are. Easter gladness, love and laugh. To the world, sad faces and depressed spirits speak of a buried Christ. If you want to convince men that I am risen, you must go through life with Easter gladness. You must prove by your lives that you are risen with me. So as I was just saying, right, God needs us to uphold to fly a certain flag, right, to be of a certain echelon of character, right, to help other people. And it's saying, if you want to convince men that I am risen, you must go through life with Easter gladness. You must prove by your lives that you're risen with me. Live with godliness. Men will not learn of my conquest over death by the arguments of theologians, but by the lives of my followers, my risen followers. If you are still wearing the grave clothes of gloom and depression, of fear and poverty, men will think of us as tomb-bound souls. If you're representing God, you're representing Jesus, and it is through a disgusting way, it's through a perverted way, like there's fear, there's depression, all these different things, right? Then you're not truly representing God's message, and you are not truly living that. So not only are you giving a detriment to yourself, right, but also other people around you, and it's giving God a bad name. It's just going to make ultimately everything worse. So guys, truly get to a point where you do have full faith, full happiness, and full godliness in the Lord, because with faith and with godliness will come everything else, right? You'll be able to have love, brotherly affection. You'll be able to have virtue. You'll be able to have perseverance. You'll be able to have knowledge. You're able to just gain all these things, right? And then represent that to the best of your ability. So just wait, get to that point before you start spouting, before you start doing these things, before you start going after all these ambitions that you have, right? Wait till it gets to the point where your relationship with God really is number one, and you truly are promoting the true what God really represents. Know live in the spirit of the garden of the Easter morning for you too. I will roll away the stone for the God of the of the stepular. Walk unbound in the garden with me, in the garden of love, joy, childlike, boundless faith, the garden of delight. So just as I was saying, right? Faith, love, joy, childlike wonder. Like these are these things that God represents, and that's how we need to walk. That's how we need to be. That's what we need to represent, guys. So when the easiest way I'd say to go through this, right, it's so easy to hear it and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But the easiest way is when you're in these situations, really just get in your head and think, what would Jesus do? What would God do? And really just like catch yourself in the moment. If you're doing something that is not of God, is a fear, depression, anxiety based, right? Get in your head and think, what would Jesus do? And move out of your way, move in a way that is in godliness, right? And little by little, you'll grow. You're not gonna be perfect off the bat. It might take a year, might take 2 years, might take a couple months, right? But the more you're aware of it and the more you hear this, the better it's going to be. So I love you guys so much. Remember that God loves you too. April 11th. With that, I'll say amen.